All right, let's talk about something we've all felt, but maybe never had a name for. That feeling of being completely invisible. We're going to break down the architecture behind it, and here's the big idea right up front. It is almost never about you. Let's get into it.
I mean, really, take a second. Have you ever had that strange sinking feeling where you might as well just be a ghost in the room? It's such a weirdly powerful and honestly kind of painful experience, and I'm willing to bet every single one of us has been there.
You know the drill, right? You're trying to be polite, you're making eye contact, maybe you do that little half wave, but nothing. They just seem to look right through you. It's so frustrating, and it's just the perfect little snapshot of that feeling of being completely overlooked.
Or what about this one? You're with a group, you're excited to tell a story. You start talking and crickets. The conversation just rolls on like you never even opened your mouth. Man, the silence that follows is just deafening. Those are the moments that really stick with you.
Okay, so we all feel it. But here's the absolute game changer. While the feeling is deeply personal, the cause usually isn't. There are these hidden forces, an entire invisible architecture that's dictating who gets seen and who stays in the shadows.
And look, let's be real. It hurts. Feeling unseen can make you question everything. Your value, your stories, your very presence. It's confusing, and it's genuinely painful. Because, our brains are wired for connection. Being ignored feels like a threat to that fundamental need.
This is where we make the big pivot. What if we stop looking at these moments as personal failures or just random bad luck? What if instead we could see them as the predictable results of a system that we can actually understand?
And that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to pull back the curtain and look at the social blueprint of invisibility. Think of it like we found the architect's plans that secretly map out who gets the attention in any room.
So we're calling this the architecture of social invisibility. It's this core idea that feeling ignored is not a you problem. It's the result of these predictable, interlocking systems, our own psychology, the way our social groups work, and even the physical rooms we're standing in.
So how is this invisible architecture actually built? Well, it basically stands on three huge pillars. First, there's the simple wiring of our brains, our cognitive biases. Second, there's how we sort ourselves into groups. And third, the actual physical spaces around us. Let's break each one down.
Okay, time to look at the blueprints. Let's dig into these three core components and see how this whole invisible structure gets built all around us all the time. First up, let's talk about our brains. The simple biological truth is our ability to pay attention is, it's incredibly limited. It's like having just one tiny, narrow spotlight in a gigantic, dark warehouse. It can only light up one little spot at a time.
There's a scientific name for this: inattentional blindness. You've probably heard of that famous experiment where people are told to count basketball passes, and they totally miss a person in a full-on gorilla suit walking right through the middle of the screen. The gorilla is there, it's fully visible, but because their attention spotlight is pointed somewhere else, it's effectively invisible. This quote just nails it. It's not about what our eyes can see, it's about what our brain chooses to focus on. And that focus is a precious resource. So when someone doesn't see you, it's usually because their cognitive spotlight is just aimed somewhere else. Their brain is literally filtering you out to save energy.
Okay, building block number 2, the social component. We are, at our core, tribal creatures. We form groups, and these groups create this amazing sense of belonging for the people on the inside. But they also build these invisible walls that can make everybody else feel unseen.
The principle driving this is called homophily. It sounds complicated, but all it means is love of the same. Birds of a feather flock together, right? We are naturally drawn to people who are like us. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a mental shortcut for building trust. But it has a really powerful side effect.
This really gets to the heart of the trade-off. The things that make a group feel so tight-knit and strong, the inside jokes, the shared history, those are the exact same things that build the walls. They're what make it so hard for an outsider's voice to break through. And finally, our third building block, the physical world. The layout of a room, whether it's an office, a party, a classroom, it is never just a neutral backdrop. It is actively directing our attention. It's telling us who to look at.
The whole field of proxemics is dedicated to studying this. And when you think about it, it's obvious, right? Who gets the seat at the head of the conference table? Who stands in the center of the circle at a party? The design of any space creates these natural focal points. And, just as importantly, it creates peripheries. Little dead zones where people just don't get noticed.
Just think about how wild that is. The layout is giving you instructions. And it means that the person feeling ignored might simply be sitting in an invisible chair that the room's design created. By just changing your physical spot, you can often change your social visibility. It's incredible.
So there we have it, our 3 building blocks. The tiny spotlight of our attention, the invisible walls of our in-groups, and the powerful design of our physical spaces. Now let's put it all together and see how this architecture really works out in the wild.
Now this is a really important distinction to make. Most of the time, what we experience is what you could call benign neglect. It's an accident. It's a byproduct of the architecture. The server is overwhelmed. The group is just deep in their own conversation. But sometimes it is malicious ostracism. It is intentional. Understanding the architecture helps us tell the difference, so we don't assume the worst when it's just the system at play.
So why does seeing this blueprint even matter? Well, it's not about making excuses or feeling like you're powerless. It is the absolute opposite. Seeing the design gives you the power to navigate the world in a totally new and much more effective way.
So here's a new mental model, a new toolkit to use. First, just acknowledge the architecture. See the invisible forces at play. Second, and this is the big one, depersonalize the feeling. The next time you feel overlooked, tell yourself, this is the system, this is not a judgment on me. And third, become an observer. Start looking for the systems. Ask yourself, okay, where's the attention spotlight in this room? Who's in the in-group? How is this space set up?
And that brings us to our final and maybe the most important question of all. Once you have the tools to see this hidden architecture, the question suddenly flips. It stops being, why don't they see me? And it becomes something way more powerful. Who am I not seeing? Thanks for watching.